history and the flora that we have in the country. But otherwise, we now get to take a look at our early morning news. So good morning to you once again, and thank you for joining us on Good Morning Zimbabwe. In the story topping our look at early morning news, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has described the late national hero, Comrade Joshua Malinga, as an individual who played a significant role in representing the needs of persons with disability. He was speaking at the burial of Comrade Malinga at the National Shrine yesterday.
As Zimbabweans from various provinces gathered to bid farewell to the late special advisor to the president on disability issues, Comrade Joshua Malinga, at the National Heroes Acre in Harare this Friday, they reflected on his contributions in crafting policies for people with disabilities and his role in politics. His is a story of resilience of a young boy who, despite becoming a victim of polio at the age of 2, went on to be successful in life. President Mnangagwa and the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, as well as the country's 2 vice presidents, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and Colonel Retired Kembo Mohadi, and senior government officials, joined the family to lay to rest a gallant son. The president went on to highlight the crucial role that Comrade Malinga played in the formulation of policies for people with disabilities.
As a senator, Politburo member and my special advisor in government, Comrade Malinga was instrumental in making sure that both the policies of the Revolutionary Party and government were alive and sensitive to the interests of persons with disabilities, irrespective of gender, age, race, and social position. His defense and unflinching love for our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe, saw the late Comrade Malinga placed under heinous and illegal sanctions by the West. We accord him well-deserved honor and a befitting farewell as we lay him to rest alongside his compatriots here at the National Heroes Acre.
At the National Heroes Acre lies many gallant sons and daughters of the soil who now include Comrade Malinga, and President Mnangagwa reminded Zimbabweans that the independence did not come on a silver platter. In the same vein, President Mnangagwa assured Zimbabwe as a sovereign nation and interference in internal affairs will not be allowed.
The struggle to liberate Zimbabwe was not a walk in the park, as the racist Rhodesian regime brutalized the black majority to preserve their dominancy. Democracy did not come cheaply, as many of our comrades lost life and limb in the grueling struggle for our independence. It was the liberation movements, PF, ZAPU, and Zanu, that brought democracy, independence, and freedom and democracy in our motherland. Today, the same forces that orchestrated and supported the incarceration, maiming, and killing of our cadres for demanding independence and majority rule come to us masquerading as champions of democracy. We will never, never forget the past. Day and night, they continue in their devious attempts to create chaos in our country so that they can loot our resources. No, no. Under the watch of the Second Republic, this will not happen.
President Mnangagwa said the nation must take a leaf from the illustrious life of the late national hero. Comrade Malinga succumbed to cancer on Friday last week after serving the nation in various capacities, which include being the executive mayor of Bulawayo and special advisor to the president on disability issues. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Harare.
On the same note, the late national hero, Comrade Joshua Malinga, he has been described as a gentle giant on issues related to empowerment and development of all Zimbabweans, especially people with disabilities.
An advocate of rights for people with disability, this has been a message that Zimbabweans have associated the late national hero, Comrade Joshua Teke Malinga, with, owing to his desire to see those living with disability being recognized and afforded opportunities to lead better and transformative lives. Among the mourners at the National Heroes Acre in Harare, where Comrade Malinga was buried this Friday, were representatives of people with disability.
Vakanga vari chipangamazano wekuti waigara navo, both as a technocrat sababa zvakare vakanga vaine pfungwa nevision, a visionary leader vekuti vaitidzidzisa kuti aiwa mwanangu izvi hazviite izvi zvinoita.
I understand iko zvinanga kuma 77 88 years, but munhu mwana mudiki akauya, he was very friendly, munhu mukuru zvichienda zvakadaro.
To his colleagues in government and the ruling Zanu PF party, Comrade Malinga's legacy shall live forever and aspirations advanced.
Malinga was helping the disabled. That is not measured in time or in space. It is measured internationally, disabled people. It is measured with just all human beings.
When I became Minister of Public Construction and Housing, Comrade Malinga was a regular visitor to my office, raising the issue of how our buildings were inaccessible to people living with disabilities. And he pushed me hard to introduce regulations at that time that all buildings must be accessible to people with disabilities.
Family representative Dr. Ntokozo Joshua Malinga said his father was a pillar of strength to the family and the nation at large.
He is one of the people that spent his 79 years with extreme wisdom. He was born an able-bodied person, but later became wheelchair-bound, but that did not stop him from living life as everybody else.
The late national hero authored 8 publications as a way of creating awareness on disability issues across the world, while other materials remain unpublished. At the time of his death, he was special advisor to the president on disability issues. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, in other news, Zanu PF First Secretary and President Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa has congratulated all party members and supporters for delivering a resounding victory for the ruling party during last month's general elections. He said this when he officially opened the party's first Politburo meeting after the 23 August general elections. We get more details on that story in the following report.
It all began with a minute of silence in remembrance of the late Politburo member, Comrade Joshua Malinga, who was buried at the National Heroes Acre. The 371st Zanu PF Politburo meeting was opened by the President and First Secretary, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa. He thanked all who made it possible for Zanu PF to return to power, with a special mention of one province out of 10 provinces.
I particularly congratulate Mashano Central Province for the outstanding performances during the just ended harmonized general elections. It is popular, strong and dominant in all our provinces by sweeping all the National House of Assembly constituencies in Mash Central, including in urban areas. We have truly demonstrated that Mash Central is unwavering in defending our rich liberational heritage.
President Mnangagwa asked the Politburo members to go back to every cell, village, branch, district, and province to express appreciation of the people's votes.
The people and the party must continue to have a sense of community. The party must remain fully immersed in the grassroots. Lessons and experiences of our national elections have exposed the machinations of our erstwhile forces, including funding the regime change agenda. Zimbabwe under Zanu PF will remain an independent sovereign nation and will never yield to foreign pressure.
On those who wish to denigrate our institutions, lessons have been learned.
We had so many people, especially our detractors, who did not expect that we would have peaceful, harmonized general elections. We had pumped a lot of money into the country, supporting renegade political organizations, their running dogs, hoping that they would offset the will of the people of this country through the usage of money. I'm happy that our people actually used the money in the country, but still voted Zanu PF to continue ruling the country.
He said the work of both the party and its government is cut out.
There must be unity of purpose between the government and the party. Government is a creation of the party. The party, in terms of our ideology, is supreme to government because it is the party which creates government. Let us play our part to eradicate poverty among our people. Zvatakavimbisa vanhu ngazvibatike.
Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa said, with unity of purpose at every level, they'll continue to achieve the desired national development targets towards the Vision 2030. This coming month in October, the party will host its National People's Conference at a venue and date to be decided. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, the president there particularly congratulating Mashonaland Central for their clean sweep in the general elections. And still on the same note, Zanu PF award celebrations in Mashonaland Central province following its victory in last month's general elections.
The ruling Zanu PF party is basking in the resounding victory in last month's general elections, which saw President Emerson Mnangagwa being re-elected with 52.6% of the total votes. The party also secured legislative majority after winning 136 National Assembly seats as compared to 73 that went to the opposition Triple C party. Briefing the media after a Zanu PF Politburo meeting at the party headquarters in Harare this Friday, Secretary for Information and Publicity, Ambassador Christopher Muchangwa, confirmed the plans to hold victory celebrations at a date to be announced in Mashonaland Central Province, where the ruling party claimed all the 18 constituencies.
The president was very grateful to the performance of his party and his election team led by our political commissar. By the same token, the Politburo was also very helpful, was lauding the president for his energy, his zest, his zeal during the elections. He went everywhere, he met everybody. He had huge rallies which were attended by many people, well organized. So he worked hard and he has been duly rewarded with the victory which we were celebrating as the Politburo. We have additional kudos to two other provinces, Mashonaland Central, which is the crucible, the cradle of the National Liberation Movement, the armed struggle. It remained solidly behind Zanu PF, one sweeping all the seats.
Ambassador Muchangwa also spoke on the new cabinet appointments, which is a generational balance.
Politburo hailed the president for a cabinet which mixes young and old, experienced and novel, young people who are flocking back to the ruling party. They are now going to see themselves being trained to be rulers of Zimbabwe. This is a good thing. We made a very judicious selection of the cabinet, President Mnangagwa. It was very judicious. balancing the provinces and balancing the gender, and also having a right generational mix in the cabinet. This is a cabinet which has got much on its shoulders expected of it, because we are now having big ticket investors coming to the country, billionaires. You know, the Politburo noted that out of the 6 to 7 top billionaires in the world doing lithium, at least 4 to 5 of them are in Zimbabwe. So this is world-class investment because of our rich lithium resources.
This Friday's Politburo meeting was the first for the party after the 23 August general elections. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa turned 81 yesterday, with the head of state saying he will remain resolute in his efforts to build a better country for future generations. President spoke soon after receiving messages of love and well wishes from staff at the Zanu PF headquarters in Harare. Our chief correspondent Ruben Barre has more.
On the 15th of September 1942, a baby boy was born to the late Sekuru Mafidi and Mbuya Morai Mnangagwa in the Zhishawane communal lands in Midlands Province. At the Zanu PF headquarters in Harare, workers and other senior party officials had a surprise for the birthday boy.
How old are you now, Papa? How old are you now?
The birthday boy, who got an early present from the over 2 million Zimbabweans who voted him back to the presidency, had a few words of counsel and encouragement, and also to the party's detractors.
In every single province where we went, we had a massive attendance to our rallies. This has never happened before. Yes. Which means our party Zanu PF is getting stronger and stronger. Yes. And our detractors are getting angrier and angrier. And I enjoy when our detractors get angry. Kana vakatuka Zanu PF kana ini ndonyanyisa kufara.
Yes, what a road he traveled, dangers encountered, times of sadness, laughter, and triumph. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
And moving on, the rehabilitation of the Kwekwe-Mvuma Road in the Midlands Province is progressing well, with constructors racing against time to ensure that the road is completed in the near future. Tafara Chikumira gives us the details.
The rehabilitation works for the Kwekwe-Mvuma Road are moving with speed, with the greater part of the road infrastructure now complete, while the remaining parts are getting the necessary attention. The 100-kilometer road between Kwekwe and Mvuma is the shortest route between the two towns, as it cuts the cumbersome time motorists had to endure by traveling via Gweru.
Atachinonoka kupinda mtown. Eko zvino chero kadambukirwa nebearing unotomhanya 2 minutes wotodzoka kumunda.
Road yakati wandei marori. Saka marori anga achiuraya road angangoma potholes oga. Satoimba nekugadzirwa kwayaita inenge yakufambika zvakati nake.
Mapotholes anga akawandisa. So we just hope kuti inobata kusvika kutown uko. Zvikaspreadawo kusvika kuma locations. I think it will be good.
Government says the rehabilitation of the road is just part of the grand plan to upgrade the infrastructure in the country in line with the National Development Strategy 1.
Of Kwekwe-Mvuma Road is part of the Second Republic of modernizing our infrastructure. This road will shorten the trip, as people were traveling from Mvuma to Gweru Kwekwe, but now it's from Kwekwe direct to Mvuma. As you are aware, Manidze will be opening very soon.
The Second Republic continues to make strides in developing various parts of the country through its inclusive development agenda. Tafaraj Kumira, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
Some great news as Zimbabwe continues registering development all across the country. Now we'll move on to another story where war veterans have pledged to play a role in national development by partaking in various economic activities that contribute towards the attainment of an upper middle income society by 2030. The following report gives us more.
Veterans of the liberation struggle and their children this Friday completed a capacity-building training program that will see them actively participating in the economic value chain in line with the Nyika Inubakwa Nebenevayo ilizwe lakhiwe ngabanikazi balo mantra. The training was facilitated by government through the Ministry of Veterans of Liberation Struggle with the aim of ensuring economic inclusion of war veterans.
So we are encouraging them so that they also contribute in building the nation.
For the veterans of the liberation struggle, the skills training program was eye-opening.
This is the first time in history of the ministry to train, business training, on both the war veterans, collaborators, detainees, and the restrictees. And it took almost about 5 days from Monday to Friday. And they were taught in different varieties of subjects, which include finance, management of business, entrepreneurship, as well as how to run their own business.
As war veterans of the liberation struggle, sizincedise lokwazi amabhizinesi ethu ukuthi siwayenze kanjani lokuthi senzeni ngawo, especially lokudla imali ukuthi uyaba le business usosedla imali ungabe sakwazi ukuthi uqale ngapi ugcina ibusiness broker. So siyabonga kakhulu president
zvatatrainwa ndofuna kutarisira kuti tikwanise kuti tivandudze nyika yedu sekutaura kwapresident kuti nyika inovakwa nevanhu vayo nekutongwa nevanhu vayo, asi vaona zvakanaka kuti vatipo mukana wematrainings nekuti vachiona kuti zvichida pamwe hatina kugona kuita shuviridzo yeupenyu, asi netraining yataitwa yebusiness training tikuona zvine pundutso.
I want to thank the Presidium and the Ministry for this great work, which is synchronizing the ideals of Vision 2030 intergenerationally, because our parents, they were able to start the way, and we hope for succession, and this is the way to do it, by empowering young people with professional skills so that it can spread across the whole country, leaving no one behind.
Participants were trained in entrepreneurship among other courses, amid efforts by government to have more Zimbabweans with the capacity to create employment. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
Our war veterans, they are pledging their commitment to the development of the nation. And that story bringing a cape on early morning news. Up next is Business Breakfast. And in our business breakfast, it is exciting times indeed, as Zimbabwe has courted interest in Malaysia with delegates from the Asian nation hinting on future collaboration and trade partnerships.
First time participating at the Malaysia International Halal Showcase and already making an impression, Zimbabwe may have just started a new journey to secure new trade and export ground in the Asian nation. Officials from Malaysia have hinted on future connections with Zimbabwe in key areas of trade, providing a good platform for the country to bolster its export drive.
Zimbabwe is always a good trading partner for us in Malaysia, and then we are looking forward for more interactions between Malaysia and Zimbabwean companies.
So far, the Mahal exhibition is doing very well, and I found it just after the Gulf exhibition. We have benefited from it a lot, and we are looking forward to participate in the upcoming 2024 exhibition.
It's a huge statement of intent expected to catapult the country's export earnings. Zimbabwe's special envoy to Malaysia, Ambassador Constance Chemwai, is optimistic these inquiries will soon be translated into tangible business deals.
It is our hope that these commitments will be seen through. Zimbabwe has the opportunity to supply the halal market, which globally is reported to be around $3 trillion. So it is a market that we really have potential to fulfill.
The Malaysia International Halal Showcase is one of the largest trade fairs across Asia, providing a window of opportunities to over 5,000 delegates to meet and synergize mutual business deals. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News.
Still taking a look at business, and Indian business delegation has been lined up for this year's 13th edition of Small to Medium Enterprises International Expo that is set for later this month.
The SMEs International Expo, which will be held in Harare from the 27th to the 30th of September this year, continues to attract regional and global firms' participation, with India being one of the shining examples of SME sector business growth. A delegation from the Asian economy will be the key highlight of the global exhibitors. SMEs operators are therefore confident of learning more strategies and securing viable markets.
National SMEs Expo tiri kuiona ichitibatsira kuti tikwanise kutengesa zvatinogadzira nemabasa edu maoko.
Tiri kutarisira kutaridza machines atinogadzira, totarisirawo kudzidza kubva kune vamwe.
Tine a big conference yachaita ye 2 days kubva musi wa 28 kusvika musi wa 29. Pamaconference papa tichataura zvakawanda zvebusiness.
Coordinators of the SMEs International Expo also confirmed more interest from global economies.
India is one of the biggest with SMEs in their portfolio, meaning that, we have to learn more. And we are not expecting India alone. We are also expecting China. We are also speaking to the Indonesians. So we are expecting quite a lot of people from different countries.
Official statistics show that the SMEs continue to play a pivotal role in economic development, with a recent survey indicating that the sector added over $8 billion to the national gross domestic product (GDP). Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, it seems that the world of business in Zimbabwe is doing the most as we are set to host the International SMEs Expo. But now we move on to regional and international news. This is regional and international news, and we start off in Libya, where the country is wrestling with search and rescue operations in the flood-reached Derna, while facing many headwinds, including inaccessible to the disaster-stricken region and transferring of deceased victims. On Sunday, Mediterranean storm Daniel made landfall in eastern Libya, triggering floods and causing extensive damage to infrastructure along its path. The situation in Derna, located along the northern coastal region of Libya, is particularly devastating, with the number of casualties expected to rise further.
The latest situation, unfortunately, is still bad. The medical and paramedical convoys still find some challenges to find good access to the east side of Derna. And also there's another smaller town near Derna, Susa, who have been swept as well from the Daniel storm. And the leading roads to there has been collapsed, and unfortunately makes it even more difficult for the help to reach them there. For the past 50 years, the Libyan authorities never had a chance to meet and face a similar natural catastrophe, which make it even more difficult for the lack of expertise or the technical human resource and equipped team for the rescue operations. That's why most of the local authorities, most of the people of Libya, they've been asking for international solidarity in forms of technical rescue teams. And I can tell that things will be better as long as we can see, and we can see more technical teams have been, reaching to the disaster zones, have been coming to Libya.
Quite sad news coming through from Libya as they are experiencing the harsh realities of climate change. We'll move on now to Morocco, where a team of Chinese counselors have reached out to Moroccan villagers who have endured unthinkable hardship following a devastating earthquake last week. In addition to physical injuries, natural disasters such as the deadly Morocco earthquake can leave long-term mental illness on survivors. We'll get more details on that.
After the earthquake, most of the people are in the first stage of the grieving period. Okay, they cannot believe it is real. We definitely can help them to get rid of the negative emotion and negative thought. Obviously, we understand that physical support is the most important in the first stage, but you can't believe that if the people they have their house rebuilt, they have their food, very good school rebuilding, but they could be, suicide or maybe to do something harmful.
They are bringing us a cap on regional and international news, and we now take a look at the arts, where the cultural Sungura genre has taken a new interesting twist in the expansion by luring Chinese nationals into collaborating with Zimbabwean Sungura artists. This is the story of Anyway Muvumbi, featuring the Chinese national Yuani in a Sungura track, and let us get more details.
Saka panyaya dzemusic idzi ndakangopindawo sekuti ndakanakidzwa ndinonakidzwa nesungura zvakanyanya. Saka tinofarira music yakafanana namakingwazi ndiye munhu anonyatsondinakidza chaizvo. Saka ndiye munhu andaingoramba ndichikotera kusvika ndazongofuma ndamborekodhawo one song yangu yandingakwanisa kuti ndizoti vanhu vanoitambira sei. Saka ndiyo song yandakarekodha inonzi mavhu yangu iyi. Ndechiti munhu kana uchingopinda murudo ingoita kunge munhu akapusa zvako zviruziva zvauri kufanira kuchiita. Ukaita izvozvo unoziva zvakawanda ende hauzorasiki murudo kazhinji. Ukada kungwara stereki hauri kuda kungwarira nokungwarirawo. Kufanira kunge ndichitoendawo kumberi chaiko chaiko. Sekuti Sungura ndinoda kuti timboedza kuiita kuti zviite chaizvo. Saka izvozvo tinoda mamwe masongs atotogadzira zvedu izvozvo kuti tione kuti zvakamira sei. Shoko randingangotaura nderekuti vatariri chimbotitsigiraiwo tine zvimwe zvatakagadzirira pamberi apa zvatitotarisa kuti tinotoburitsa. Tine mumwe wangu anonzi Yuani kana kuti Gamba ndozita rake chairo. Saka titore mosongo yatotobika izvizvi itori padhuze chapo kuti tinogwangobuda manjimanji. Saka garai makangotarisa kuti manjimanji tine miti zvakare.
Just like the first one is 2018 new style. There's some guitar have another nice one. We also like continue another one. It's new. It's a new film, a little bit challenge for the beat. We wish with collab with Macheso.
Anyway Muvumbi, straight out Mrewa, mukarakati ya kushika padombwe. Yes sir.
I particularly like Yuan's ambition, as he says he wants to collaborate with the king of Sungura himself, Alik Macheso. And I think we'll only wait until the day that they eventually make a song together. As we continue with our look at arts, the South African amapiano star Nkosazana, daughter, real name Nkosazana Nolwazi Kimberly, is set to set the stage alight in the country this weekend.
The 22-year-old Sofa Slahlane hitmaker Nkosazana daughter will stage 2 shows in the country, one in Bulawayo on Saturday and another one in Gweru on Sunday.
We are hosting Nkosazana daughter. She'll be coming here in Zimbabwe all the way from South Africa, and she'll be performing here in Bulawayo as well as in Gweru.
The show's dubbed Summer Activation will also give local artists a platform to interact and share ideas with the South African artists.
She'll be supported by our local artists. We do have Justic Now, Jam Master, Dunge Youth, Mr. Gray, as well as Fabi on the lineup.
The 22-year-old amapiano singer has also collaborated with regional and international stars such as Master KG, Gabza Dismal, and DJ Maporisa. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Well, interesting times there in the world of the creatives, and we will hope to see you in performing right here in Zimbabwe. And talking of coming to Zimbabwe, there are nations right here in Zimbabwe for the Africa Sevens Rugby Cup, and that and more coming up next in the Sport Update. Welcome to GMZ Sports, and it's an exciting weekend in store for all sports fanatics. And we start off in rugby, where the Rugby Africa Sevens Cup rolls into life today at Harare Sports Club, with all the teams eager to make an impression and see automatic qualification to the 2024 Olympic Games.
At the 12th Team Africa Rugby Sevens Cup, we see the top team qualifying automatically for next year's Olympic Games, while the runners-up and the third best team will wait for a final qualification tournament next year. Hosts Zimbabwe have called experienced players, and the captain believes they will carry the day for them.
I believe we've trained quite enough, and the boys have said the mindsets are correct. So I think it's high time we just show up on the day tomorrow and just do our job.
The visiting teams, however, are eager to steal the show from the host.
The tournament is quite a tough one, yeah. The end goal of the tournament is an automatic spot at the Olympics. So it's going to be a really tough tournament, but shall take each game at a turn, and we are just hoping for the best.
First of all, our main aim is to play our first game as a final, and see the build-up towards the last game, which we hope to come out victorious and go back home as qualified for Paris.
All the teams met at a welcome reception hosted by the French Embassy in Zimbabwe, as they are the hosts of the Olympic Games. A guest of honor at the event, Honorable Kirsty Covent, the Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, challenged all teams to show the African pride.
For us as government and a ministry, it's been a focal point over the last 5 years to ensure that we're bringing top competitions to Zimbabwe. We've seen that with our cricket, with the ICC and the World Cup qualifiers, among many others, and we have many coming. And as ministry and government, it is very important for us to continue to support our selective sports.
The group stage matches will be played on Saturday, while the knockout matches and the final will be on Sunday at Harare Sports Club. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, it promises to be an exciting 2 days of rugby action at Harare Sports Club, and 12 teams in Zimbabwe are set to battle it out for one sole ticket for automatic qualification to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. And we now shift our attention to football news in the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League. We're struggling Premier Soccer League side, the Caps United. You have blamed injuries for their recent poor form, but will be hoping for a change of fortunes when they face Chicken Inn at Butter Stadium in Gweru this Sunday.
Caps United started the season on a good note, going unbeaten in their first 6 matches before losing to city rivals Dynamos in the Harare Derby in Week 7 of the Premier Soccer League. Since then, the Green Machine have lost steam, even though they had patches of good performances in between the bad results. As the season went on, it actually went from bad to worse for Makepe Kepe, who were winless in 7 matches after last testing the victory on the 15th of July against Green Fuel.
It was actually a very bad patch with injuries the past 6 to 8 weeks. We've lost about 8 guys, so they're slowly coming back to the fold. You saw Ian coming back last week, you saw Bamuzi coming back last week. So it has been really tough for us, but at the end of the day, we just have to keep our heads up. We have to keep on working hard.
Ahead of their match against Chicken Inn, Cape United welcome back utility player Ben Musaka, defensive midfielder Devon Chafa, while the games come too soon for defender Kevin Madzongo and midfielder Joe Ngozo, who have both started training. Chicken Inn and Cape United are separated by 10 points on the log, with the Blower side in 5th position with 36 points, while the Fading Arrow Giants are 10th. Match day 23 kicks off this Saturday as the Blower Chiefs host Dynamos at Babafield Stadium. Crema Bullets take on Wange as the Rentals takes on troubled Black Rhinos. Log leaders against the Platinum Stars take on Greenfield at Baobab Stadium as Manika Diamonds welcome ZPC Kariba to Gibo. Sunday sees the Triangle taking on defending champions FC Platinum at Gibo Stadium, while Simba Baura tackles Shisham with the last match featuring Highlanders and Yada at Babafield Stadium. Lawrence Susida, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, exciting days in the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League, and if the record books are anything to go by, this promises to be an exciting encounter featuring 2015 champions, that is Chicken Inn, and Harare Giants, that is Cape United. But still on the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League, defending champions FC Platinum are confident of victory when they face Triangle United in a Kasolaga Premier Soccer League match tomorrow.
After sharing spoils in the first round match at Mandawa Stadium, FC Platinum are however walking with a spring in their step following an impressive win against Cape United last weekend. The match, however, comes as an opportunity for Triangle United to cause an upset against the defending champions. Knowing the threat that the Sugar Boys pose and the threat of relegation looming on Triangle, FC Platinum coach Norman Mapeza is fully aware of what to expect at Gibo Stadium.
It's not going to be an easy game for us. It's not going to be an easy game for us. If you look at their previous matches, of course, they have been doing well of late. And we know definitely it's not going to be easy. Every time we go to play against Triangle at Gibo, it's never easy games. But I can't complain with how the guys have been training the whole week.
In their previous 5 league matches, FC Platinum have managed 2 wins and 2 draws, leaving the game with a lot on stake as they aim to climb up the ladder. Karejushe, ZBC News, Shishavane.
It's now, the race has now been thrown wide open, and anyone can win it. And FC Platinum will be working to make sure that they bag this season's championship. But we now move on to Europe, where once the most expensive footballer in the world, that is Paul Pogba, has sunk to a new low after being provisionally suspended for a doping violation. Injuries and a bizarre blackmail plot involving his brother have dominated his second spell at Juventus, and the latest revelations came just as the midfielder looked ready to get back to his best. Let us get the details.
Now, Paul Pogba has asked for counter-analysis on his positive doping test. The Juventus midfielder had to make the request on a sample in which he tested positive for testosterone. The process will take 7 days. Pogba's agent, Rafaela Pimenta, says they can't say anything on the matter until the results are received, but stresses he never meant to break the rules. Our colleagues in Italy are reporting that if the positive result is upheld, the anti-doping prosecution process will begin and can result in 3 scenarios: dismissal, plea bargaining, or trial before tribunal. If Pogba is ultimately convicted of the offence, he can face a ban from football of 2 years that could even double to 4 if the substance is specifically listed. And the anti-doping organisation find it was taken intentionally. Juventus are ready to suspend Pogba's wages if the counter-analysis is positive and proceedings begin, while they can also terminate his contract if he receives a ban.
Well, from Italy, we now move on to Spain. And in the Spanish La Liga, Rayo Vallecano beat Deportivo Alaves yesterday at home thanks to Esau Palazon's penalty and Wawed Frutos goal. Let us watch the highlights. And rest is since for Rayo Vallecano there will back to the 3 points. And we now move on to Germany, where Hurricanes' fourth goal in 4 Bundesliga games was not enough as Bayern Munich were yelled to a 2-0 warm draw by Bayer Leverkusen, with Ezequiel Palacios netting a dramatic injury time equalizer.
Kane's in the centre. Oh, it's gone to Kane! And Kane has scored in under 7 minutes.
Now move on to rugby, where England coach Steve Borthwick makes 3 changes to the starting 15 set to face Japan in Nice on Sunday. The starts for props Kyle Sinclair and Joe Mahler, and Lewis Ludlam at number 8. Courtney Lewis, who will captain, will start at the blind side, with Ben Els moving to open side. The backline is unchanged.
As with every selection I make what I think is the right selection for us to get the result we want. And you'll see that across the team with the couple of changes I made, that I think this is the right team. I said last week that I expected the players to perform, and they did. These are big players and they perform on the big occasions, like the man next to me. And I expect that they will go out in another big game on Sunday night here in Nice and put in another big performance. Yeah, I think Luds is a tremendous player, and his ability to play 6, 7 and 8 is incredibly valuable. I think he's a fantastic player. You can often talk about Luds and talk about the brilliant team man he is and the leader he is. I think people sometimes don't know just what a good player is, what a talented player is. He carries in the middle, he carries on the edge, made 12 tackles, Corny said 12 tackles in 10 minutes last week. He jackals, he's a tremendous player. Michael Leach is a tremendous player. I was privileged to work with him in build up to the 2015 World Cup. I think he's a really intelligent player, and I think he's at the very heart of everything that's good about Japanese rugby. I think he's a man I have tremendous respect for. I think he's an excellent player. That doesn't change the fact we want to make sure we outperform him on Sunday night.
Well, quite a challenge that Japan might pose on England, and they have been forced to make 3 changes. And Japan themselves are not outdone, as they have announced 4 changes, with Japan coach Jamie Joseph making 4 changes to his starting 11 from last week's win over Chile for the Pool D match against England in Nice tomorrow.
I think we can expect a lot of high balls. Certainly a consistent part of England's game, putting pressure on opposition teams through the kicking game. But like all kickers and all guys who are receiving the balls, they make mistakes. They kick a bit loose, and then that creates an opportunity for us. But we're expecting a lot of pressure from England. That's certainly a big part of their game. And Johnny and Semesi and basically anyone that's in those positions have got to be good enough to catch those balls with extreme pressure. That's going to be one of the big parts of the game that we've got to improve in, and we know that, and we've been doing a lot of training on that all week. Last week when we watched England play Argentina, that was a big part of the game, that they put Argentina under a lot of pressure and created a lot of game from that and field position. And every time that we knock something on, we're going to scrum, and scrum's the second part of the game that's that we've got to take care of. They've also got a few weaknesses that if we can actually find them and be able to play our own game, then perhaps we can create some opportunities for us.
Well, may the best team win there. That is Japan versus England. Set for a clash in Nice tomorrow, and it's going to be epic. And we now move on to some tennis news, where Novak Djokovic revved up a Davis Cup quarterfinal place for Serbia yesterday, beating Spain's Alejandro Davidovich Fokina just 5 days after winning the US Open title. The world number one is to a 6-3, 6-4 success to give his country an unassailable 2-0 lead in Valencia after Laszlo Diere's earlier win over Albert Ramos Vinalos.
Just a couple of loose shots. Wow. I još jednom. Opet čini mi se Malinga, dolazimo I čuvaj se.
Well, the world is top seed there, Novak Djokovic, proving why he is the world number one and making sure that Serbia romps into the quarterfinals. And we now move on to some Formula One news, where Swiss-based constructor has been calling on Chinese car makers to join world's top motorsport league, Formula One. The $2.5 billion industry has many opportunities that can be exploited by China in terms of technological development. Let us get the details.
Sale on Monday.
Formula One is a $2.5 billion industry, but for manufacturers investing in it, it is not a guarantee of more car sales. According to Sauber team chief Alessandro Bravi, the increasing global brand value from being on the grid is priceless. And given he employs the first Chinese driver Zhu Guanyu and next year sees the return of the Shanghai Grand Prix, he says it's about time Chinese companies make the next step.
And I think for a Chinese manufacturer, it will be important to join Formula One, not just because they need to be known outside of China, but also because they can use this platform to develop technologies for their future road cars.
Shanghai-born Zhu is in his second season in the sport and is more skeptical.
To be honest, I couldn't imagine to have a Chinese constructor, which is a little bit, of course, disappointment, but I think it's the reality, you know. Of course, it could be a brand that's maybe named after a Formula One team.
Alfa Romeo, Sauber's current racing partner, has been using the access to technology for the development of 2 of its road car models, and according to its management, the Italian manufacturer increased its return on investment by at least 10% during its 4 years. But the Italian team is not renewing its contract, maybe because making a noise in F1 requires serious amounts of money.
Here we have the wind tunnel. This is an investment between 50 and 60 million of euros, not considering the building itself.
Being one of the few teams with its own wind tunnel, Sauber Group also employs 500 staff at its headquarters outside Zurich, and teams spend up to $135 million a year on the car alone, not including drivers' wages or transporting the team around the world. Even if being a business partner is a more realistic step, Chinese companies could reach an extensive audience.
Oh, can the world function without China? That is the question. And their Formula One teams are calling on China car makers to come on board with their artificial intelligence. And Nico is still in the building. And Nicole, it was lovely to see Novak Djokovic taking Serbia to the quarterfinals of the Davis Cup. And we had our own Zimbabwean team which qualified for the Africa Group 2 playoffs.
Which is great. And like I keep saying, our sports has really been elevating, which is good. We've been seeing more international cups happening in the country. We've seen our international players going out in the world and representing Zimbabwe on the world stage. So it actually is great, and we wish all the best to that team that is going to be representing Zimbabwe in that cup. But unfortunately, that brings an end to our first hour of Good Morning Zimbabwe. We will be back in the second hour as we continue with the broadcast until 9 o'clock. That's on our official news channel at ZBC News 24 and on our Facebook page at ZBC News Online. Remember, we have that trivia question for you, and we will be checking out who came through with the answers and if anyone got it right. Any plans for the weekend, Reynold?
Well, this weekend I think I'm going to go for a rest. Yeah, I'll probably rest because
you're resting.
Yeah, it's been a hectic week.
Well, for our Amapiano fans in Bulawayo, you really have a good lineup, a good show that is lined for you today, as Nkosazana daughter will be performing. Here in Harare, we have the big Miss Universe happening at Hippodrome, so make sure that you are a part of that. Some local big artists are also performing. I know Enzo Aishel is on the list as well. So yes, that's where everything is going to be happening. And if you're a Dr. Chai fan, he is having a launch party for his EP. So so much for you this weekend. But obviously, we are back again tomorrow at 7 o'clock on ZBC TV. So make sure that you enjoy the day today and join us again tomorrow. Good morning.
Future's brighter will grow.
Talk of the Silicon Valley in California, Shenzhen Hardware Silicon Valley in China, Issa Valley in Munich, the Silicon Valley Plateau in Bangalore, and the Silicon Cape in South Africa. These are some of the world's leading innovation hubs that have changed the face of the planet Earth in terms of technological advancement. For Zimbabwe, the story is sad. Technological advancement has been sluggish for at least over the past 2 decades as a result of varied reasons, but chief among them, a half-baked education system. Inherited from the colonial system, Education 3.0 focused more on teaching, research, and community service. To a great extent, it produced useless graduates who could not innovate but only wait to be employed. The birth of the Second Republic, however, saw the modification of the Education 3.0 curriculum to Education 5.0, which jellies well with the aspirations of Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is a homegrown blueprint which seeks to transform Zimbabwe into an upper middle income economy.
We are now in the second hour of Good Morning Zimbabwe on Saturday, the 16th of September 2023. Summer is definitely here. Temperatures are rising, and we continue urging the rest of Zimbabwe to stay hydrated and stay indoors at the peak hours, especially between midday and 2 p.m. That's when it's usually the hottest. So if you don't have a reason to be outdoors, please make sure that you're home. High temperatures come with heat-related illnesses, your heat stroke, heat exhaustion as well. So let us make sure that we're safe. It is at that time where you take out your sun hats, your sunglasses, your caps, your sunscreen as always, and you need to be carrying around an umbrella and maybe a bottle of water as well.
Well, this is the coolest time of the year. I'm sure Ama2K will relate with that. And like Nico said, do make sure that when you go out, you are putting on your sunglasses on, and you also have your sun or caps, so that you won't get those fevers coming through from the heat. And Nico, it's really hot these days. I was walking in the sun yesterday for no apparent reason though, but I felt that the temperatures have really risen.
They really have, and I was looking at the UN World Statistics for the highest temperatures that have been recorded in the world so far, and especially these last few days. And Africa and Australia are the hottest in the world. So you can imagine that we could be experiencing a heat wave. So you just really, really need to stay cautious of your health. Now take a look at some of the responses that are coming through on our Facebook page. Remember, you need to come through on ZBC News Online. That's on Facebook. Our question was, which cultivar in vernacular is the largest tree in Zimbabwe, and where is it located? I've been trying to scour through some of the comments that we got, but no one has given us a correct answer. However, we will just go and say good morning to those who are joining us. I see Peter Manyaga getting in touch there, a gift to Bejana. Also saying good morning Zimbabwe. Nyasha Baira also coming through. Moses Simbane Gavi says Honorable Dexter Nduna, good morning. Tau Nyati also, Honorable Dexter Nduna is in the comment section as well. And Enias G. Mukungwa, Octom Construction, also getting in touch with us on the Facebook. That's at ZBC News Online. I see Elaine Ephraim also saying that she is joining us all the way from the United States of America. So it's actually good that we have people from outside the country joining us as well. Nobit Kunene says, good morning, my fellow Zimbabweans. Atafadzwa Tiffy Dube and Lorraine also getting in touch. Chuma Chitenge and Philip Kanyai. There's so many names on our Facebook page. We would not be able to call out every single person that has come through. But to everyone who's taken their time to contribute and comment on our Facebook page, we really appreciate you. So I will come to you, Reynold, the answer to our quiz, since no one has got it right in our comment section today.
Well, you know, that's a bit of a tough one for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think since I've got the marking sheet, let me look into the marking schedule and then...
You're going to cheat today, but it's all right. It's all right.
You know, I don't know this, but the answer is Muyu Umkomo and is located in Victoria Falls. Well, I didn't know that one.
It's the biggest baobab tree in the country.
Wow, I didn't know that one.
There's the Victoria Falls and the one that's close to Kariba, I think is the second largest in the country. Very big trees, I should say. And I think it's Mahuyu season. Let me know if I'm actually correct, but I've been seeing a lot of those. And I don't know if you've ever made Mahuyu popsicles in your households.
Well, you know, yeah, growing up in our area, we had what we called Mahuyu Lolo. You know, those were
those are the popsicles anyway. So yes, it is the perfect season for you to be making those at home and just staying refreshed and also healthy, as they have several nutritional benefits to them. So we get straight into our news recaps, and we start with the story where President Emmerson Mnangagwa has described the late national hero comrade Joshua Malinga as an individual who played a significant role in representing the needs of persons with disability. He was speaking at the burial of comrade Malinga at the National Heroes Acre yesterday. We get more details on that story in the following report.
As Zimbabweans from various provinces gathered to bid farewell to the late Special Advisor to the President on Disability Issues, Comrade Joshua Malinga, at the National Heroes Acre in Harare this Friday, they reflected on his contributions in crafting policies for people with disabilities and his role in politics. His is a story of resilience of a young boy who, despite becoming a victim of polio at the age of 2, went on to be successful in life. President Mnangagwa and the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, as well as the country's 2 vice presidents, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and Colonel Retired Kembo Mohadi, and senior government officials joined the family to lay to rest a gallant son. The president went on to highlight the crucial role that Comrade Malinga played in the formulation of policies for people with disabilities.
As a senator, Politburo member and my special advisor in government, Comrade Malinga was instrumental in making sure that both the policies of the Revolutionary Party and government were alive and sensitive to the interests of persons with disabilities, irrespective of gender, age, race, and social position. His defense and unflinching love for our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe, saw the late Comrade Malinga placed under heinous and illegal sanctions by the West. We accord him well-deserved honor and a befitting farewell as we lay him to rest alongside his compatriots here at the National Heroes Acre.
At the National Heroes Acre lies many gallant sons and daughters of the soil who now include Comrade Malinga, and President Mnangagwa reminded Zimbabweans that the independence did not come on a silver platter. In the same vein, President Mnangagwa asserted Zimbabwe as a sovereign nation and interference in internal affairs will not be allowed.
The struggle to liberate Zimbabwe was not a walk in the park, as the racist Rhodesian regime brutalized the black majority to preserve their dominancy. Democracy did not come cheaply, as many of our comrades lost life and limb in the grueling struggle for our independence. It was the liberation movements, PF, ZAPU, and Zanu, that brought democracy, independence, and freedom and democracy in our motherland. Today, the same forces that orchestrated and supported the incarceration, maiming, and killing of our cadres for demanding independence and majority rule come to us masquerading as champions of democracy. We will never, never forget the past. Day and night, they continue in their devious attempts to create chaos in our country so that they can loot our resources. No, under the watch of the Second Republic, this will not happen.
President Mnangagwa said the nation must take a leaf from the illustrious life of the late national hero. Comrade Malinga succumbed to cancer on Friday last week after serving the nation in various capacities, which include being the executive mayor of Bulawayo and special advisor to the president on disability issues. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, from the pictures there, you could see that thousands of people thronged the National Heroes Acre to bid farewell to the late national hero, Comrade Joshua Malinga. And now moving on, the Zanu PF First Secretary and President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, he has congratulated all party members and supporters for delivering a resounding victory for the ruling party during last month's general elections. He said this when he officially opened the party's first Politburo meeting after the 23rd of August general polls.
It all began with a minute of silence in remembrance of the late Politburo member, Comrade Joshua Malinga, who was buried at the National Heroes Acre. The 371st Zanu PF Politburo meeting was opened by the President and First Secretary, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa. He thanked all who made it possible for Zanu PF to return to power, with a special mention of one province out of 10 provinces.
I particularly congratulate Mashano Central Province for the outstanding performance during the just ended harmonized general elections. It is popular, strong, and dominant in all our provinces by sweeping all the National House of Assembly constituencies in Mash Central, including in urban areas. We have truly demonstrated that Mash Central is unwavering in defending our rich liberational heritage.
President Mnangagwa asked the Politburo members to go back to every cell, village, branch, district, and province to express appreciation of the people's votes.
The people and the party must continue to have a sense of community. The party must remain fully immersed in the grassroots. Lessons and experiences of our national elections have exposed the machinations of our erstwhile forces, including funding the regime change agenda. Zimbabwe under Zanu PF will remain an independent sovereign nation and will never yield to foreign pressure.
On those who wish to denigrate our institutions, lessons have been learned.
With so many people, especially our detractors, who did not expect that would have peaceful, harmonized general elections. We had pumped a lot of money into the country, supporting renegade political organizations, their running dogs, hoping that they would offset the will of the people of this country through the usage of money. I'm happy that our people actually used the money in the country. but still voted Zanu PF to continue ruling the country.
He said the work of both the party and its government is cut out.
There must be unity of purpose between the government and the party. Government is a creation of the party. The party, in terms of our ideology, is supreme to government because it is the party which creates government. Let us play our part to eradicate poverty among our people. Zvatakavimbisa vanhu ngazvibatike.
Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa said, with unity of purpose at every level, they'll continue to achieve the desired national development targets towards the Vision 2030. This coming month in October, the party will host its National People's Conference at a venue and date to be decided. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
We turn our attention to another story where President Emerson Mnangagwa turned 81 yesterday, with the head of state saying he will remain resolute in his efforts to build a better country for future generations. The president spoke soon after receiving messages of love and well wishes by staff at the Zanu PF headquarters in Harare this Friday. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barre, has more on that story.
The 15th of September 1942, a baby boy was born to the late Sekuru Mafidi and Mbuya Morai Mnangagwa in the Zhishawane communal lands in Midlands Province. At the Zanu PF headquarters in Harare, workers and other senior party officials had a surprise for the birthday boy.
How old are you now? How old are you now?
The birthday boy, who got an early present from the over 2 million Zimbabweans who voted him back to the presidency, had a few words of counsel and encouragement, and also to the party's detractors.
In every single province where we went, we had a massive attendance to our rallies. Yes. This has never happened before. Yes. Which means our party Zanu PF is getting stronger and stronger. Yes. And our detractors are getting angrier and angrier. And I enjoy when our detractors get angry. Kana vakatuka Zanu PF kana ini ndonyanyisa kufara.
Yes, what a road he traveled, dangers encountered, times of sadness, laughter, and triumph. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
And we now move on to Kwekwe, where the rehabilitation of the Kwekwe-Mvuma Road in the Midlands Province is progressing well, where the constructors are racing against time to ensure that the road is completed in the near future. Our